Everyone, this is Pratibha Ramgonda. So today we are going to discuss Unit 5, that is fabrication of integrated ICs. So the topics which we are going to cover in this units are introduction to your ICs, advantages and disadvantages of ICs, classification of IC, fabrication of monolithic ICs, fabrication of diode, fabrication of transistor, resistor and capacitor. So first let us see what is this IC. IC is one where your all circuit components like transistor, diode and resistance, they will be automatic part of a small semiconductor chip. In the sense, in this particular small chip, you can have the connections of your transistor, diode and resistor. Right, so this is IC which is basically seen, and this is 8-pin IC. So your first and second pin, these are used as your input pins, third is used as your output pin, fourth and seventh they are used as your fixed DC voltages, like fourth is used for plus 12 volt and 7 is used as minus 12 volt. Next, the advantages of this IC. What is advantage of using is it will increase reliability because we have to connect less number, in the sense less number of connections will be done, because of which you will have a increased reliability. And it is extremely small size because you are fabricating many elements into a single chip of semiconductor material, and it also has less weight and space requirement because of its miniaturized circuit, and it also requires low power. It has greater ability to operate at extremely values of temperature, means high temperature, and low cost because of simultaneous production, in the sense you can product hundreds of same circuits on a small semiconductor wafer, so it is low cost. So these are the advantages of your ICs. Coming to the disadvantages of IC, one disadvantage is that if in that your IC, if one component goes out of the order, the whole IC has to be replaced by the new one. Then the capacitors which are less than 30 picofarad, they cannot be fabricated in the chip, and it is also not possible for to fabricate transformers and inductors, so they can handle only limited amount of power. Like if the power is of 10 watt, if it is more than that, this IC gets burnt off. So there is a lack of flexibility in an IC, and they functions at fairly low voltages. So if you provide more voltages, then there is a possibility of IC get damaged. Next, classification of ICs. Basically there are three types of classification. One is by scale of integration. Second is by, we'll see one by one. First we will see that is by scale of integration. So based on the scale of integration means how many number of electronic components you can put it into one IC. So small scale integration means you can put at least 1 to 20 electronic components in one IC. If it is medium scale, then we can include 20 to 100 of electronic items in one IC. If it is large scale, you can include 100 to 1000 components, electronic components in one IC. If it is very large scale integration, you can include 1000 to 10,000 electronic components in one IC. If it is super large scale integration, means 10,000 to 1 lakh electronic components you can include into one IC. So this is the classification of ICs based on your by scale of integration. By scale of integration means how many number of electronic components you can include in one IC. The second is by its structure. So by its structure we have monolithic, film passive and hybrid. So in film passive, again it is divided into thick film and thin film. So we will see one by one. So first one is, that is monolithic. Monolithic means mono stands for single and litho stands for stone, means it is nothing but it is a single stone structure. So all the components and the interconnections for the monolithic ICs, they are made on a single thin wafer which is called as substrate. The next one is thick and thin film, that is your film passive. So here it is seen that your passive elements like resistors, capacitors, they are fabricated on thick, and thin film ICs. But how we can differentiate? We can differentiate by the method of depositing the film. So in thin film, what happens is the desired pattern will be deposited on your surface with the help of substrate using a mask. So here your resistors and conductors, they will be formed by varying its width and thickness of the film and by using material for different resistivity, whereas your capacitors, they will be formed by sandwiching and insulating oxide film between the two conducting films. In your thick film ICs, your components will be deposited on your substrate using silk screen printing techniques. And the third one is hybrid. Hybrid is nothing but it is a combination of your monolithic and film passive. So in hybrid, what happens is, first your active components, they are formed on the silicon wafer and the insulating layer SiO2 will be covered. After that, your passive components, they will be formed by using film techniques. What are those film techniques? They can be silk screen printing techniques. Then the connections has to be made between your monolithic and film, that is done by a window cut in the SiO2 layer. So this is the classification with the help of your structure. The next is by the function. We have two types. One is analog and digital. So the linear circuits, which are called as analog circuits, why do we call analog? Because here they will continuously varying with respect to your time signals. Examples can be operational amplifiers, power amplifiers, etc. Whereas your digital, those are non-linear circuits. Why? Because they will they work discrete or continuous signals, in the sense they will be not changing continuously with respect to your signals. They will be having only two signals, either they will be high or they will be low. So there can be no like high, medium, half, 3/4. No, either they will be 1 or they will be 0. Whereas analog, they will be continuously, analog in the sense they will be continuously changing, but digital we have 1 or 0. So that is based on your function. Next is fabrication of your monolithic ICs. Fabrication of monolithic ICs is one of the what we can say is the fabrication process is very complicated, but it has to follow the steps, right? So what happens here, your discrete components such as your resistors, capacitors and transistors, they will be fabricated in your IC. Okay, so they have their own particular steps. First step is wafer formation. Now wafer formation will be done by the manufacturer. He will produce a p-type crystal which will be several inches long, then that will be again sliced into many thin wafers, and one side of that wafer will be polished in order to avoid the surface imperfection, and that particular wafer is called as P substrate. This is a P substrate, you can see over here. After this P substrate is used as what? Base for your whole fabrication process. Second is epitaxial growth. Now these particular wafers which are sliced, they will be put into furnace. Then for that a gas mixture which is having silicon atom and pentavalent atom, they will be grown over the wafers, which will form a N-type semiconductor layer, and this is called as epitaxial layer. Okay. After this, the next process is oxidation. Oxidation means a thin layer of SiO2 is grown by exposing your wafer to the oxygen. Now this particular oxygen atom, they will combine with your silicon atom, which will give rise to a thin layer, and that thin layer is what? Silicon dioxide layer, which is like a glass like layer. And what is the advantage of this? This will prevent your further chemical process. This process is called passivation. Next is photolithographic process. Now this process involves selective etching of SiO2 layer with the help of this photographic mask, photoresist and etching solution. Right, now what happens is, in this first process is your so what happens is, your UV lights will be made to fall on this SiO2 layer. The metals will be kept the place where you want, right? So now you can place these metals. You can see the two metals which are placed here. So whenever you put the UV light, leaving these two, the remaining portion is been etched off, right? So you will get two windows formed. So this is known as photolithographic process. Next is isolation diffusion. Now in this process your impurities will be added to your wafer. Now wafer, after that your wafer will be placed to high temperature and your type impurities will be diffused into your N layer. Due to this your N layer will be isolated and they will form a island like this, right? Now the heavily doped P plus, they will provide a isolation between your passive and active components which will be formed in your N layer, right? So this is after this P you will form a N. Next is base and emitter diffusion. So as you can see here, your P plus impurity will be added to N type island which will act like a transistor base. How it is done? Again the same process. Your first oxygen will be blown over the surface to form the complete SiO2 layer. Then window will be formed by repeating your step 4 and or the steps which I had explained it before. After that your top of P layer will act like a P layer. In the sense this is base emitter base collector. N will act like a emitter, P will act like a base, and N will act like a collector. Whereas here this is for the fabrication of your transistor which is having 3 terminals, and this is the fabrication of your diode which is having PN junction, right? Means 2 P and N. How it is done? Next is pre-ohmic etch. Now for making your good metal ohmic contact with your diffused areas, you have to heavily doped N region will be diffused. So this again it has been done by your photolithographic process, your oxidation layer. The last one is metallization. Now once the interconnections are done, now the connections have been done but they have to be connected through your metallic contacts. So it is done by making interconnections and providing bonding pads around the circumferences which will act like a later connections for your wire. So this is usually performed by the vacuum evaporation of your aluminum and selecting the etching away your all the aluminum which is present on the entire surface. So these are the collector, base and emitter, and this is for P and N junction. So you can see these two are interconnected. So this is one particular IC which is having transistor and diode. Okay, after this, once everything is done, your circuit probing means all the each IC or the chip will be checked electrically and then they will be discarded. After that they will be separated. The process of separation of the wafers into individual chips will be done. That is what diasing. Mounting and packaging means it is a final step where your chip will be concentrated on a gold plate header and these header will be taken out with the pin so that it can be connected, right? So this is how your fabrication of the monolithic ICs takes place. The next one is fabrication of diode. Now fabrication of diode, what happens is diodes are fabricated with the help of diffusion process. So the sequence will remain same follows. First you have to put a epitaxial layer on the P substrate will be etched off. Then the wafer will be put into the furnace and trivalent impurities will be added. Okay. The third will be what? Then the wafer will be exposed to your pure oxygen to form a silicon dioxide layer. After that, what you will do? The diffusion of trivalent impurities to form a P-type island, right? Again your oxygen will be blown to form a complete SiO2 layer. Then window will be etched to expose P and N islands. With the help of depositing the metals, your electrical contact will be made with anode and cathode, right? So the process I had explained of diode and transistor in that itself. Now here it has been explained separately, right? So this is how fabrication of transistor and fabrication of diode is taken place. Next is fabrication of resistor. Now when we are speaking about fabrication of resistor, first is what? Diffusion of N-type material into P substrate where your N will act like one plate of the resistor, and again your oxygen will be blown over the surface to complete the SiO2 layer, right? So here again you will have a for resistor you need two terminals. So you got one terminal and two pins. So the process remains the same. only it depends upon how many terminals you need. Those many contacts has to be made. The last one is capacitor. So first is you have to diffuse your n-type material into p substrate, where your one n-type will act like a one plate of the capacitor. Then your oxygen will be blown on the surface to form a silicon dioxide layer. That particular silicon dioxide layer will be etched at one point, and your metal will be deposited for the capacitor. The metallic electrode is deposited on your silicon dioxide, which will form a second plate of the capacitor. Now the SiO2, which is in between, it will act like a dielectric material. So this is shown over here. This is one plate of your capacitor, this is another. In between this, whatever is present, that is dielectric material. So that value will be depending upon your thickness of the dielectric layer. Thank you, students.